what do we know about this pin so far?
It's still very early in development, but I was struck by how small it is. It has 2 cameras on the front, a button on the side, speakers, microphones, and wireless charging on the back. And I guess you're supposed to like wear it similar to an AirTag. You need to attach it either to your clothes or to a bag.
Now, this resembles something like the Humane pin that we heard so much about. I mean, we know what happened with that company, right?
Yeah, I mean, conceptually, they're both, I guess, pins, but the main pin was a bit different. It had like a projector. It was like, it was very bulky. It wasn't meant to work, with a phone. And I think this new Apple pin will likely work with an iPhone. It's smaller, it's sleeker, more lightweight.
And so what do we know about what this pin is supposed to be able to do?
Well, presumably it'll do things that most AI assistants do. You can talk to it, ask it questions. Maybe with the cameras, you can take photos or videos, send messages to people. But I think at this stage, it's not clear, but probably it'll just help you understand your surroundings better.
And is this a direct rival product to what OpenAI is rumored to be building as well?
I think it is. I think that Apple's seeing the writing on the wall that consumers really want to, use AI constantly, have something that's always on, something that's recording, or being able to, show what you want to be able to show AI what you're doing. And so, they're rushing this product to market. I think partially because OpenAI is going to be doing the same in the next year or two.
So we've talked on the show about the challenges that Apple Intelligence has had in terms of really impressing customers and users of the iPhone. How do you square that with then the idea that they're rushing to market, like you said, to deliver this pin? I mean, there's got to be some tension there, right?
Yeah, so I think one of the big reasons for some of the delays in some of these Apple AI products is that the software is just not ready, right? Siri is just not ready. In fact, Apple delayed Siri upgrades to Siri last year, and they hopefully plan to roll them out this year. And so I think that Apple's recent partnership or announcement that they were going to use Google's Gemini to kind of power their underlying AI models might have emboldened them or given them the confidence, at least, to try these sort of new AI products, knowing that they can likely deliver them on schedule this time.
So they're leaning pretty heavily on Gemini to sort of carry them through this next phase, even potentially for their wearables and hardware.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the difference now.
And then if you think about the scale of this bet, I think on one end, I'm struck by how much work it took to deliver a product like the Vision Pro and how intricate that was. On the other end, you have AirPods, right, which seem to be sort of less of a departure from what Apple knows how to do. So if we take that spectrum of AirPods to Vision Pro, where do you think this wearable pin falls on that spectrum?
Yeah, they're very different. Right, the Vision Pro took more than 7 years to develop, and obviously AirPods, were a shorter time, but also like the Vision Pro cost $3,500, and I don't think this pin will be anywhere near that. And so I would say it's closer to maybe like somewhere between like AirPods and an Apple Watch than it is to like a Vision Pro or some of these other products that Apple has in the pipeline.
And do you think they'll pull it off? I mean, like what? Just give me you're an avid consumer of Apple products. I mean, what do you think that will happen with this?
I think it really depends on what the capabilities are. What are people's expectations in 1 year or 2 years about what AI can do? Is everybody going to be wearing smart glasses, or are they going to have AI pins or pendants or things like that? I think this is kind of like a bet on the future that Apple doesn't want to be left behind if people start to, find other ways to interact with the world and with AI other than their smartphone.
I want to ask you about a Bloomberg story that also was making headlines this week. So there was reporting that Apple is also looking to revamp Siri, which we've reported on as well. But now it might resemble more of a literal AI chatbot assistant. My read on it was maybe something like what Microsoft has with Copilot. I was trying to figure out what direction they were going in. What was your reaction to that story?
Yeah, I think Apple has long had aversion to chatbots. They didn't think they were that useful. And of course, ChatGPT kind of changed that, right? People really like ChatGPT. They want to talk to it. They want to get advice from it. And so I think it was inevitable that Apple kind of caved to this idea that you do want this companion or somebody you can talk to back and forth and have back and forth conversations. People have definitely proposed that within Apple for years for Siri, but were shot down. And I think this actually does pair well with this new AI wearable pin, because, if you wear this pin, maybe it is your companion and something that, you can talk to regularly.
And last question for you. I mean, what does this tell you about Apple's strategy at large here? I mean, we've talked about the legacy iPhone business. It's not going away. We've talked about the big bets, the Vision Pro. I mean, what does it tell you about the company's overall strategy?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they are trying to prepare for a post-iPhone future. And so they're making lots of hedges and exploring lots of different products that could possibly be that post-iPhone world. And so this AI wearable pen is kind of one of those bets.
Great. Well, Wayne, I want to thank you for coming on. That is Wayne Ma, our reporter here at The Information. I want to thank you for joining us.